Okay, this video is about Gem Builder. So if we go to Gems, this category, the very first button is Gem Builder. So let's talk about this. I'm going to kind of start from the top and work my way down. I'm going to talk about every function, so stay tuned. Cut type, right now we only have diamond. We will have some cabochon cuts. We'll have some gem cuts, probably a pearl loader, which is really just a circle, right? And that'll probably be about it. So this pull down really only has one cut in it right now. So future versions will have more in here. Okay, so as far as that goes, I'll get to the handles here in a minute. Right beneath the cut type, and I'll get back up here too, although you don't use this too much in this builder. The cut type, round, square or princess, oval, pear. I don't know if I need to click on every single one of these, but the quick tip will tell you. Here's cushion, here's square cushion, or cushion square. Marquee, here's an emerald cut, a square emerald, octagon. Here's a radiant cut. Okay, click on that just for fun. Square radiant or Asher, actually. Heart, trillion, triangle, trillion straight. There you go. Here's a calf cut, half moon, and of course a straight baguette. Now, for tapered baguettes, I would direct you over here, okay, to Custom Baguette Builder. And to the left of that is Custom Emerald Builder. So if you want different proportions than what our stock emerald cut is, then you would want to run this builder. Okay, so by just left clicking on these, okay, you can load that shape. The next thing down is the length, width, and depth of a gem. And notice that we have yellow locks here, okay? So for a round gem, you would probably want this locked so that when I move this one, the other one moves at the same proportion. So if you want a 5mm round, you slide this until you get to 5. Okay. The depth is automatically figured from the percentage. So for a round ideal cut, the percentage is 62%. So 62% of 5 is 3.1. If you want very particular dimensions in here, okay, and they're not symmetrical, so maybe a round is truly 5 by 5.1. Okay, that's fine. Now, what it's doing is it's looking at the proportion of this and still factoring the depth at 62%. But if I unlock this, then I can set this to whatever I want. Maybe it's 3.3 deep, okay? With all that entered, okay, and you just click on these numbers and you can type whatever you want, okay? With those entered, this is now that size. It's 5 by 5.1 wide, and it is exactly 3.3 millimeters deep, okay? Now, if you want to commit a gem to the screen, okay, you simply press enter on your keyboard. That's the easiest way, okay? So I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to come over here and click on this gem, okay? And guess what? Right over here, 5 by 5.1 by 3.3, okay? Now there may be some rounding here, but that's pretty much the size of it, Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and select that and delete it, and I'm going to come back. You can come back to the command history, or you can go over and click again. All right. I'm going to click here, and oh, it was 5. It was 3.3. Okay. In that short amount of time, I forgot. Okay. Now, in order to come back and talk about this more, I am going to come over and hit the reset. So remember when I said you don't use these too much in the spiller? This one you do. Because here's what happens. If you go and go, oh no, I want these to be the same. They're not the same. They're 5 by 5.1. The lock just says do the same thing proportionally to these that you do to whatever slider you're sliding. So this will never get back to 5 by 5 because we unlocked it and moved it, and then just because you lock it again doesn't mean it's round. You've skewed it. Way to go. So anyway, if you want this back so that you'll get round gem, you hit the reset button. Reset to default preset. Bink. There you go. Now it's round. So that's how you fix that. It turns the locks back on and so on. So that's the default. Okay, so as far as that goes, a lot of the time, like on a marquee, you might have a 10 by 7. Okay, you're definitely going to have to unlock this, and you can either type it or you can slide the slider. Okay, I don't know if you have one of those or not. Maybe a skinnier one. 10 by 4.5. It's whatever. And then if you have a particular depth, again, you would unlock this and slide that to whatever it is and hit enter. And that is that gem right there, 10 by 4.5 by 3.2. Okay. I'm going to delete that one again, come back and hit reset. Now, you'll notice this was on marquee and these were all unlocked. When I hit reset, we go back to round 5.5. That is our default gem right there. So if you wanted marquee, you would just go back and click on it again, and now everything's locked to the proportion. Okay? All right, there you go. Okay, so I'm going to come back to round, and I'm going to come back to saved and all the units and everything in a moment. Let's sit and talk about what these handles are doing. So when I have a gem out here, and of course as it's being built, it's this yellow color. When it gets created, it goes onto a gem layer. Okay, different cuts go to different gem layers. I can tell you that the round goes to gem 3. So if I press enter and a gem is created, okay, then there it is. It's on gem 3. That's just something that we do. We put different gems on different layers. Let's go to princess and let's hit enter. A princess goes to gem 3 as well. And it might seem like there's no rhyme or reason, but wow, the first 3 apparently go to, let's check the pair. There we go. The pair goes to gem 2. All right, so it's kind of random, doesn't feel random, but we just divided them up. And so it just so happens the first 3 are gem 3. And then some go on gem 1 and 4 and 2 as well. Okay, so back to the handles. Let's go ahead and work on round. There are times when, let's say you're going to build a 3-stone ring, okay? And the center is a 6.5 millimeter, which is basically a carat. So that's going to be the center stone, okay? So you might want to put that here, okay? And you might want to move it up, all right? And then when you press enter, there it is. Okay, then when you come back and run the builder again, the side stone might be a 5.5 millimeter. Well, then you could move it over and move it up, okay? I should have a ring rail out here, but I'm not too worried about it. And then you can even rotate this. So you can start setting up your geometry, your ring, or whatever you're building right from within the builder rather than just adding them all here and having to move. So the arrows allow you to move along the y-axis, along the x-axis, up and down, or the z-axis, and then you can rotate y, rotate on a round, it doesn't really matter, but rotate z, and then over here is rotate on the X. Those are all the different handles that you get running this builder. And if you do rotate something, well, there I got it back to 0. Here it's at 0. Okay, we're fine. Actually, that's deceiving. This is 24. I'm going to hold down shift. When you hold down shift, I'm going to go to 25. The minute you let up, we zero this out. We do not track how far you went. That's just, we can't, because it's not geometry yet. So just so you know, if you rotate this, if you didn't keep track of how far you went, then you're guessing. Now, I knew 20, yeah, we're not back to straight. That's about straight there. So be careful with that. It only shows a distance from its last move. So if I move to 99 and let up, it's at 0 again. So if you want very specific movements, you shouldn't do it here. This is just for rough orientation of objects, okay? So, but it's good enough for me for laying out a 3-stone ring, so I'm probably going to do that by looking at it anyway. Okay, so then if I hit enter, then that one loads and away we go. Okay, let's go ahead. Oh, and then I would select this and hit Control F1, and there's the start to my 3-stone ring. Okay. Now, if you are working, let's say, on a remount ring or something, and you know you have 5 different gems of varying sizes, let's say, I'm just making it up, let's say I have a 2 millimeter, okay? Now, if I move this over here to start a list of gems and I hit enter, then I'll have to start the builder over again and then start it over again. But if you look down here, okay, there's the create button. So if I come down, or I can press C on my keyboard. So if I click the create button, it creates that one. Then I can slide this up to a 2.4, and maybe I'll move it over here and hit create. So notice it's dropping the gem into the scene, but it's not stopping the builder, okay? So now if I go to a 3 millimeter and press create, then I can move this over here now and go up to whatever. I'm making it up, right? Then I can press create, and then it always goes and jumps back to the center. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky. Let's say my last size is a 4.2. Now, there's a button right here that says create on command finish, okay? To finish the command, you press enter, or in Rhino, you can right-click the mouse too. So right-click mouse is like pressing enter on the keyboard, okay? Now, this is where the gem is sitting. On finish, okay, on command finish, it's going to create this gem. So when I hit enter, okay, there you go. I have one gem here, one here, one here, one here, and one here. Okay. Now, here's, remember I said it gets tricky? Let's start the command again. And this time, I'll just keep them in a row. Let's go down here, and I'll make it a little bigger. So, what happens if I come over here and hit create, and then I hit enter to finish the builder? Well, on command finish, it created a gem. Okay, so that's not good. Okay, if this was going to be your last gem, you're best off to hit enter and let it be the last gem. Okay, let's do this again so that we're not confused. Let's go here, start the builder, and when you really don't notice it is when you're working at the origin, or F4. So I have a 4.6 millimeter out here, and I hit create, and I'm like, oh good, I created one. Then I hit enter to get out of the builder. How many gems do I have there? If you said 2, you were right. 1 from when I hit create, and 1 from when I pressed enter to finish the command. Okay, now you have to answer this question. If you're like, I don't want one of those, I want to get rid of it, just pick one and hit delete, and now we only have 1. Okay, so a lot of the time you only load a gem at a time. Okay, so you load it, you hit enter, and there's the gem. Okay, where it gets weird is if you start using create to do 1 gem, and then you hit enter, and that's when you get 2 gems. Why? Because create on command finish is checked. Now, if you don't like that, if you're like, oh, I always have 2 because I can't remember, you can uncheck this. Okay? But now, when I hit enter, it doesn't create 1 because it didn't create on gem finish. Now, one thing that you will notice is I had this turned off. Okay, we have it because you almost always want create on command finish. That's the way that the builder works, and I feel like our whole user group is used to it. So when you restart the command, watch, I can turn this off, I can hit create, and I can press enter, and I only have 1 gem. But I'm going to delete it. When I come back, this is going to be on again. That is by design. Okay? If somebody went in and turned this off on my machine, I am so used to pressing enter to get a gem, I would have a lot of trouble. I would be angry. Okay, so what you can do is you can move over there, hit create. Move over here, change the size, blah, 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 change the shape, whatever you want, hit create. When you're on your last one, okay, maybe it's this, just hit enter and you're good to go. And if you end up with 2, just delete it anyway. It's fine. You're not going to hurt anything. We didn't pay for it yet. Okay, so there's the create or press C, okay, and there's the create on command finish button, okay. These 2 work in tandem. You have to figure out how you want to use them, okay. Okay, let's keep going. So I'm going to start the builder again. All right, and let's say that you work on a certain type of jewelry, whether it's a ring or earrings or whatever your deal is. And let's say that you load 2mm rounds all the time. Okay, there. Man, I drink too much coffee. Okay, and so you, just like I couldn't find 2, I went to 1921, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't moving my mouse very well. Having said that, let's say you want to load 2s quite a bit. Well, you can come over here and create a saved gem list so that you can go into the list and go click and load it very quickly. So we want to go ahead and add to the list. You'll see that I don't have any in here. There's not anything showing up. So I'm going to click plus and we'll add it. Okay. And so there is a 2x2 by 1.24, okay? And I'll hit enter. Let's go ahead and delete it. Then we'll come back here, okay? And I'm gonna hit reset to go to 5, okay? And then I'm gonna come over here and go, oh, hey, check it out. There's my 2x2, and I can get to it very quickly, okay? So let's add another. Okay, let's go and slide this up to 2.5. Okay, and then we'll click plus, and now that one's added. Okay, this list is made, okay, per gem shape. So in other words, if you're like, oh, I want a princess, okay, and I want a 3x3 princess. Okay, there it is. We come over here and click the plus, and there's a 3x3. And then you're like, well, I want my 2mm round. Where is it? Well, it's per shape. So we'll add this one. Then we'll come back. We'll go to round, and there's my 2x2. Okay. Bink. Now it got added right inside of that one. Okay. All right. So that's that gem list, and it makes you faster. It's pretty handy. Go here, go here. Oh, there's my 2.5. Boom. Thank you. All right. Now, let's say that I have a gem. Okay, and it's a 3.2. All right, and let's say I put this up here, I put it over here, I rotated it, there it is. And then I click on it and I go, hey, yeah, that's a 3.2. It should be a 3, but I like where it is, okay? If you have a gem selected and you run Gem Builder, we will replace the gem, okay? So this is selected. I click on it. It's a 3.2. It should be a 3. See it changing? So nothing else is changing except for the size. And then I hit enter. I've edited that gem. Okay. Now, if you have one selected again and you go here, okay, and you switch shapes, then that's what it'll do. Okay. So let's put a, now I'm going to use create here. So I'm going to put that there. And then I'm going to come over here and make this a smaller one. And I'm going to put it over there. Okay. And hit create. And then I'm going to do this and move it up over here. I think you get the idea. Where do I want that? I'm just going to do that. Enter. Okay, that was my last one. So I have this one, and this one. Well, what happens if I select all these shapes and then run Gem Builder? Because it's going to edit them, right? It's going to turn them all into the shape that you have selected. Happened to be pear, the last thing I ran. So we cannot edit multiple gem shapes at one time. When you select a gem and then run the builder, we assume that you want them all to be that particular gem. So we replace them all with whatever it is. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. If we hit, I'm going to hit Control Z to go back. Okay, so undo, same thing as press and undo, but Control Z is way faster. If you want to edit any one of these, just pick it. So in other words, if just the pair is wrong, select it, and we will go to pair, and you can fix that one. If we go here and press go, then we can make this, and so on. It's when you select multiple ones, they're gonna change to one shape. All right, I think I drove that point home, I hope. So at any given time, on any given model, you can select a gem and edit the gem, okay? And as far as that goes, let's go ahead, as you may or may not know, depending on what tutorial you've done so far, okay? Let's go ahead and hit enter, and then I'm going to go to setting and go to, let's do a bezel. Okay, and there's a bezel. And then when I select the gem and go back to the gem builder and change it, we will update a head or prongs or a bezel. All right, even if you go over and change it to a completely different shape, we will update that. Okay, so there you go. All right, I'm going to hit reset again and get back to a 5x5 round. There's my saved list, as you can see. Units. Okay, I think that takes us down to units. Units, you can do hundredths of a millimeter, you can do 20ths, you can do tenths, you can do quarters, half, or 1. What does all that mean? Okay, if you want your units to be hundredths of a millimeter, okay, well then look at my numbers here. I'm sitting here going, now that you're not going to hit every hundredth. It's not, the slider is too coarse for that. It was never meant for that. But you would type in, I want a 3.73 millimeter, okay, and when I hit enter, you see it jumps this one to 373 and then does the proportion to 231. And now when I hit enter, 3.73 is the one, 2.31. So that's where you're working in hundredths, okay? Let's go ahead and edit this one. If we switch this to 20ths, okay, now it's going to jump to 2.225, 2.35, and so on. Okay, so that's how you get the 0.5, or the 7.75, 6.5. That's 20ths. If we go to tenths, okay, then we're that. We're just tenths. 2.2, 2.1, 2.4. Okay, I think you get the idea. Here's quarters. So 2, 2.25, 2.5, etc. Here's halves. 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5. And then, I don't know why you'd want this, but we did it just to be cool. So there's 1 millimeter, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't think it'll go to 0. No, it won't. It shouldn't. All right, so there you go. Typically, I rock in. The thing is, if you're in tenths, you can still come over here and type 5.25, okay, and hit enter. It'll still do it. Whatever you type in here is what we'll make. You don't have to go change this. This is just pertaining to the slider, okay? Now, if we are in hundredths and you want a 5mm, but you don't want to go change it or type it, you can hold down Shift, okay, and we will snap to 20ths. So you can get to 3.4 and you're good to go, okay? Because 20ths will do whole numbers and the 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 6, etc. So that is what we call a shift step. So you hold down Shift, and when you slide the slider, we will snap to those, okay? Or again, you can click it once and type it, okay, and hit enter, and we'll update it. Okay, the percentage is a locked value, and it's what affects the depth of the stone. So as I said, round is 62%. You'll notice that princess or square cut are 72%. So that's what we're using to determine the depth of this stone. Okay, so there you go. Now, if you by chance don't agree with our preset percentages, you can change it. Okay, so we say the percentage depth of a 4x4 times 75 is 3. That's pretty easy math there. But you're like, no. The way stones are cut is this is 71. So you can click this. Now watch the depth here. I can switch this to 71 and hit enter, and the depth will change. Okay. So you can do that, and now when I slide these, it will use 71 for that depth. All right. So there you go. Otherwise, you can put it back, and there's what we say. But each one of these, there's 63, 62 for pairs, 60. These are the proportions that we found to be true for these cuts. Okay. There's the create. Oh, here's the size in carats. Okay, so as you slide this, let's go back to here, and I go up to basically 6.5. There's a 1 carat. Okay. If you say no, it's not a 1 carat, it's 1.025. Okay. I say, okay, fine. At these proportions, 62%, you can click in here and type 1 and hit enter. And it's, according to our math, 6.45. Okay. And if you don't want to do that all the time, then you can come over here and add that to your list. So there is a 645 to the numbers 1 carat gem. Otherwise, when you slide this, it'll change. And there is 6.5 or 1025. Okay, so there's all that. Create on command finish, we already covered that. You can group output if you check this on, okay, and you go here, create, here, create, here. I'm going to hit enter now. When we're done with that, those are grouped. If I pick one, they all select. Okay. All right. Let's come back. I usually rock with that off. Okay. Set surface. Now, we do have right over here a gem on surface builder. But at any given time, you may want to just go to Gem Builder and go, oh, I really want these on a surface. Okay, so let's get ourselves a surface out here. I'm going to go to Solid, and I am going to make a sphere. I know. There we go. I have jewelry around, but I really just want to show how these work. let's go here. The gem, as you can see over here, is sitting there waiting. And I want this on a surface though. So we click it, and up in the command line it says select the surface, poly surface or mesh. All right, so I'm going to pick the surface, and then now it's on the surface. Okay, all the same things apply. You can change the size. Okay, so we can get to 3. All right, the placement depth is girdle. Okay, so the gem is on the girdle. If I click this and change it to table, then we put the table on the surface, okay? Or the culet on the surface. All right, so girdle it is. All right, the placement method right now is handle. And here's what that means, okay? This is handle mode. The yellow dot, you left click and you can move this around, okay? If you want this to be slightly above the surface, not right at the girdle, but not at the culet, you can move this up a bit and it'll stay up a bit, okay? Well, let's say I want a gem there. Now, here's rotation. On a round, that doesn't really matter. On a square, of course, you would see it start to rotate. If you want a gem there, you should hit, and you're going to do more, you should hit create. You shouldn't hit enter or it'll stop. Then you have to choose the surface, blah, blah, blah. So create. It leaves it right where you were, and then we can come over here, okay? Now, you may notice these white circles. I haven't really talked about them until now. This is so that you can see the distance between the stones, okay? Now, you might say, well, what is it? Right up here is the gem outline feature. It's actually turned off right now, but if I click this on, okay, I can go 0.1, for instance, and hit enter. And, I shouldn't have hit enter. That's okay. It's going to happen to you too. You see where I switched it to 0.1? But pressing enter placed my gem. So we can edit this though. We can come over here and click it, and now I'm back. I'm going to hit select surface, and there we go. We're back, and I have that set at 0.1. I usually set this before I start placing gems and so on. So let's go 0.15, okay? And that got bigger. All right, so we're good to go. All right. Yeah, don't hit enter. Okay, so now there's girdle. Now, if you're going to do a lot of gems, then moving the handle and then pressing create, moving, create, moving. Now, again, you can press C on your keyboard, but you can switch out of handle mode. You can press V to do this, or you can click here and go to cursor mode. What does that do? Well, wherever I move my cursor with the gem and then left click, it'll drop a gem, okay? And this just makes you much faster. So now I just get my spacing correct here, and away I go. So everywhere I left click, I get a gem. Now, maybe I want to tuck this one in there. I can just change the size and then come over here and go, it's close, 2. There you go. Bink. So that just makes you faster. All right. And then when you're done, just hit enter. And you can see that they're all up a little higher because I moved the offset up. Now, if you know you're going to go ahead and set gems on a surface to begin with, you can select the surface, come over to gems, and do gem on surface, and we'll skip this part for you. Notice that this all looks the same. Okay, it is gem on surface builder, but it's all the same. Okay. All right, so let's go back to Gem Builder. Okay, so I started Gem Builder again. It's going to go to the origin, so there it sits. But that was gem on surface and all that goes with it. Okay. So there's create. Okay. Now down here at the bottom we have a legend. Okay. And that's just for keyboard. Let's move this out over here. That's just for keyboard operations. So if you want the gem to get smaller, watch the size. Okay, I'm going to press A. What does A do? It makes the size go minus or smaller. And it does it in the increments here. Okay, and then D is larger. Now it's going up. Okay, A, D, 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 A. All right, so that's just really quick. Okay. Let's go ahead and go to the next one is move Z. Okay, so that's move in the Z direction, and so that's S and W. So S is down or minus. You can see it going down, and W, and you can hold the key down. Okay, you can hold it down. All right, and then we can go and rotate is Q and E. So again, well here, let's switch it to here and make this smaller. There's E going that way, and there's Q going that way. So that step is pretty fine, but you want it fine in case you're rotating a big marquee or something. You wouldn't want it to go super fast, okay? So you may want to tweak that. So there is Q and there is E. Or if you want it really coarse, you can just grab it and move it. That's why we did the keystrokes real fine, because you can always just do this. Okay, so okay, let's come back here, and I'm going to get these out of the way. I'm going to start the builder again. And let's say that we're doing the one, let's say we're doing the scenario where I put a gem out here and press create. And then I put another gem out here and change it and hit create. And then I come over here and I make this one 4 and hit create. And then I look down at my sheet and I'm like, oh, I didn't want 4, I wanted 4.2. So you can hit undo last or press Control Z in the middle of an operation, and it'll get rid of that wrong one that was supposed to be 4.2. Okay. So that is inside the operation. That is undo last gem. Okay, there it is. I put this one out here. Okay, I hit create. I didn't want that one. There it's gone. If you hit enter and think you're going to undo just this last one, you just committed all 4 gems. If I hit Control Z, it's going to get, that was the whole operation. all 4 gems when I was running this builder. This is for inside the builder to get rid of the last gem that you created. Okay? All right, I got one more thing I want to talk about here, and I think I have talked about every single button. Let's see. Okay, there's just a couple things that I need to address here that I really haven't. And I need to come back to set surface and do on surface and address the flip and auto orient, which is something I can do. And one thing that I noticed that I didn't say is in the list, you notice during the video, we made a 2, 2.5, and then 6, 4, 5. Let's say we get a really long list and I don't need the 2.5, for instance. What you do is you click it so that that is your current list value, and then you click the delete save gem size. Boop. And there's no like, are you sure? We're like, okay, you obviously wanted to delete it. So now it's not in my list, okay? If by chance you want it back or any other, it still works the same way. We get this over to 2.5, okay? And we click the plus and we'll add it and you're back. And they obviously sort in numerical order, okay? So, that's how that works. Okay, let's go back then and I'll go ahead and add that one. So I'm going to come over and let's go ahead and here's the rings that we've made so far. Okay, and let's just use this surface. Okay, so we go to gem loader and we go to set surface. We set the surface. Now I'm on here. As we know, I'm in handle mode. Okay, now if for some reason your surface is backwards, this one I can't do it. Let's see. Let's say we want to flip this. Here's what flip does. It flips the gem on the surface. You cannot flip, okay, so I'm going to hit enter and do it that way. You cannot flip a gem like right now, right here. You can't, it's grayed out. You can't even do it, okay? And so this is only for the gem on surface section of the builder, okay? Let me give you a better example of when you would want to use the flip button and also what the last button does, auto orient. Okay, so I'm going to click up and draw a plane. Okay, let's put this plane on orange. I really like orange. Now, let's say you drew this plane, and you know what? I'm going to rotate this around. So you don't know which way the normals are facing on this, okay? So if you click here and we click on direction, you'll notice that the yellow is facing down. That is the normal surface, okay? In other words, this is the positive. Like if this was a table, then the table would be facing down and the legs would be up. Here, if we rotate it around, this would be the table and the legs would be facing down. But the problem is you have a 50-50 chance of how this surface was made, okay? So I'm just going to hit enter. And when we come over to gem loader, okay, and we say select surface and I click it, well, remember the table is this way because the direction normals, the yellow lines, were facing that way. Okay, and so there's where you would want to flip this, okay? And then you're working on that surface. And now, this is only if you can't flip this surface yet, all right? You don't want to flip the normals, you want to work this way, so you go ahead and flip it, okay? Now, let's uncheck flip, all right? So does that make sense? I hope. I'm asking a video. But there's flip, and then you hit enter, and you're fine, okay? Now, if we start this again, okay, and we say set surface, and we click here, okay, flip was on. Let's turn it off, but let's turn auto orient on, okay? Auto orient goes ahead and flips that for you because it's auto orienting the gem to the surface. Like, we figure that's what you wanted, okay? So now when I do a bunch of those, I have auto oriented to the surface, all right? And that takes that away, the whole flipping business. Now, you might say, well, how did you know? I mean, if you click here and go to direction, there you can see that those are the arrows are pointing that way. The other way you can tell is go to our shade mode right here called shade backface. So this is the back of the table right there, okay? And so that's how you can also tell. So before you even run the builder, you might shade a single surface this way and go, oh, these are wrong. This is the wrong way. I'm going to go to the direction and then left click on here and hit enter and flip it to be the right way. Okay. Then when we run the builder and do set surface, okay, and pick this, you don't have to have auto, you can have auto orient on if you want, but it's gonna, I don't need flip either because it's gonna go on the surface the correct way. And there I hit enter and there's my gems, okay? To close this video out, I just wanna make sure that it's clear that here I have a model. So the gem loader, you can set the surface and place gems on that surface, okay? Now, if you want to skip that part, you can have an object selected and then click on Gem on Surface Builder, okay? And then it will map to that particular object. So you can skip this part, but as you can see, it's the same builder, okay? And so we can change the size, okay, and go ahead and put that on there and hit enter and we're good to go. I can pick another surface and place that one, okay. So it just keeps you from having to, it just skips a step. It's not like it's really any different. It's just that you don't have to start the builder, okay, and then click set surface and then click here. You can just already have one selected if you want. And that's really the difference between these two. They're both gem builders. One just gets you onto the surface quicker. All right, so there you go.